The Chinese President Xi Jinping, who has begun his second term, has ordered the 2.3 million strong People's Liberation Army to focus on winning wars. Xi Jinping also has some advice for his army. The Chinese president wants absolute loyalty towards the Communist Party. India has issued a statement saying congratulatory messages had been sent to Xi Jinping.
That our Prime Minister had sent his best wishes to President Xi for the success of the Congress before the Congress began, and subsequently Prime Minister also congratulated President Xi on his re-election as the General Secretary of the Communist Party. We hope that the direction and the policy set by the Congress will further promote our bilateral relations and contribute to peace and stability in the region.
And to try to understand a bit better what is the meaning of these words of the President of China, Xi Jinping, we're joined on the broadcast from Beijing by Einar Tangen, who is a political and economical commentator. And I'm also joined on the phone line by Atul Enjak, China correspondent for The Hindu from Beijing as well. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on the broadcast. So, Mr. Tangen, first, my question to you. What war are we talking about?
Well, I don't think Xi is making this some sort of saber rattling. What he's talking about is having a militarily prepared force by 2050 that is capable of handling all of the defense needs and internal needs. Please keep in mind that the military is an all-purpose entity in China. It responds to earthquakes, any kind of national emergency. It builds bridges. It does what is necessary. It's more of a utilitarian thing. It does rescue operations overseas as well. But he's very, very interested in slimming down the military. He took it from an 11-member military commission, has reduced it to 7. He took the old system, which was based on 4 divisions, and put it into 15 separate entities. He's done away with a lot of the previous organization in terms of Third Route Army and names and things like that, and he's made sure that the military is firmly under control of the civilian leaders of China. As I said, I don't think this is saber rattling. I don't think he's trying to send a message to anybody. China depends on resources coming in. The Belt and Road Initiative means that there could be conflicts in the future where Chinese interests are attacked. He wants to be prepared.
Mr. Oneja, my question to you, so there is absolutely no need for India to be worried for that matter, despite the Doklam standoff?
Communication from the Chinese president to his own military. It is and there's a context to that because there were major military reforms which have been carried out over the past 5 years, including strong anti-corruption sort of moves made by China. In fact, 2 vice chairmen, former vice chairmen of the Central Military Commission, which is the apex body. Now, 2 vice chairmen of them, which means very high on the hierarchy, are behind bars because of corruption issues. So, because of the need for a revamp of the PLA, it's President Xi who's saying now that, it has to become a combat-ready force. And as Einar had just said, that this is a process which a roadmap of which has been laid out in the 19th Party Congress, where there are specific benchmarks of 2035 being one when it becomes a modern force, and then 2050 when it becomes a fully developed modern army or military. So this is a process which has started now, and there is a number of multi-dimensional changes which are taking place. The CMC has become a very much smaller. It was an 11-member body earlier in the previous 5 years. It's been reduced to 7. And apart from that, the attempt is that it becomes a more combat-ready force. So there is nothing to be alarmed about it. There is no messaging which is going on. There's no context for a messaging. But this is something more for the internal consumption and an effort to start and unroll the roadmap which the president has unveiled during his address at the party congress.
And Mr. Tangen, one thing President Xi Jinping said, he demanded full support and full loyalty to the Communist Party. So could you please highlight us a bit what traditionally is the relation between the presidency and the Chinese army? I mean, are they on the same page? Are they two different power centers? So what is this relation about?
Well, remember, China started off as a revolutionary government. Of course, they worked very closely for the military in order to gain supremacy. Mao was both a chairman of the civilian side, the party side, as well as the military. Jiang Zemin continued as head of the military commission when Hu Jintao came in. And Xi has now reversed that. He's made sure that he is both head of the military commission, a smaller one, 7-member, and a 7-member standing committee of the Politburo. He's really brought it back to very focused things. Now, in his speech to the nation, his 205-minute dialogue, he really laid out once again this picture for China. He's trying to combine the kind of ideology that was being expressed, the ideological aims that were expressed under Mao, with the pragmatism that was expressed under Deng, to create a reason for why the party is in control, where it is going, and that's why he had such a long period of going out 30 years, even longer. Now he has to make sure that the military is in the same step. You have to remember, what Atul has said is, very true. There was tremendous corruption. There was, to get a promotion, you basically had to buy it, and then people would buy promotions from you. It was a tremendous travesty. They had their own, the military had their own businesses, their factories. They were kind of a law unto themselves. And this had to be stopped. It was not just corruption on the party side. So they feel very strongly that everything has to be working in the same direction under one leadership. But there are dangers to that. Quite frankly, when you concentrate power that much in one individual, question comes, maybe Xi is terrific, but who will follow him and what impact will that have?